LinkedIn Leads Mastery, the power system for automated sales growth. My name is Shamaya. I'm a LinkedIn strategist, business coach, and the author of Happiness is a Verb. So you joined today hoping to find something that could help you. I mean, there's a lot of other things you could do right now, and yet here you are. So thank you and very well done for showing up. This webinar will be different. I'll be going fast, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't interact, because you should. It doesn't mean you shouldn't ask questions. You should. And also doesn't mean that you'll get the idea of this in the first 10, 20, or 40 minutes, because you won't. So I definitely have the chat open. I will have a look. I will engage. And if there's any urgent questions that come up, I'll definitely engage with that, which is good, because that way I can actually customize the presentation for you, for your needs, and what you came here today to learn from me. Now, as you know, it's impossible to succeed if you can't persist. Because how many people that are successful do you know who quit but gave up before they achieved their target? I mean, I don't know anybody. So if you can't make it to the end of the webinar, it will just be about an hour, probably a little under an hour. You should leave now, because nothing valuable comes easy in life. But if you stay on and you actually participate, you contribute, and you're really here with me today, the next hour can be really amazing, can be your first step on the path that you've been searching for 4 years. Nothing comes valuable in life. I said that already. Yes, okay, good. But you've got to play. Success doesn't come from sitting on the sideline. If you ever watched Wimbledon, it's the players that get paid, and the audience, they pay to watch. So the training today will improve your income, your life, and your happiness if you participate and contribute and really see like the nuggets that are in there and the value that it will add. Because what applies here applies for everything. We're going to apply it to LinkedIn, because that's why we're here for, and saying, okay, how can we build that power system? So welcome. I would love to see like what brought you here today. What is it that you were hoping to get out of today's session? Learn new in business. Okay, welcome to learn. Okay, and can you be a little bit more specific? What is it that you really would like to learn? Okay, learn new in business. Anybody else? Okay, ChatGPT and how to use it. Okay, in this case, we're going specifically on LinkedIn Leads, and then how to use ChatGPT specifically in the application for LinkedIn. Simple and effective techniques to generate leads. You come to the right place. How to grow your LinkedIn business growth, for sure. How will AI affect the staffing in the future? That's kind of a little different topics. That this really is on LinkedIn Leads focused and using AI to use that. Okay, great. Looking for a way to streamline lead generation that convert to clients. You came to the right place, Doc. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today and how to do that. Using LinkedIn to search for the best leads. That's the strategy we'll definitely discuss. Curious how to use AI to improve my LinkedIn profile. Usage, Marissa, you came to the right place. Thank you for joining. So great to see you, and thank you for participating. Okay, let's get started. Do you agree that companies who know how to market make a lot of money? Who would agree with that? Just by show of hands, or you can just mark the little hand. Who would agree, or you can put in the chat, who agrees that companies who know how to market, companies that know how to market make a lot of money? Yes, John says, hey, John, great to see you. Marissa says yes. Maria, true. So there's 8 people that agree. How many people do we have? Amazing. We're almost at 100 people. 100% agree. Amazing. Okay, cool. And this is companies. And these companies, like, we love them. If you look at companies like Nike, Disney, you know, and of course, Apple. We love them so much. Like, people spend the whole night outside just waiting for the next, spending more money with them, waiting for the next phone. So what they did is their marketing made us fall in love with them. So just imagine that our customers would loving us the same. We would make a lot of money, right? Because when you love someone, you want to help. So when we love someone, we want to help, we want to see them succeed. And that's what's important in marketing, because what actually is marketing? Marketing are the actions that cause an ever-growing number of people to love us and to buy from us, to give us money. So let's dive in together and see how we can apply this principle to LinkedIn. And this is really important because in everything we do, specifically in profile, in events, like in generating leads, you want people to fall in love with you. So keep that in mind as we go through the training. When you see a doctor, he asks about your symptoms so he can make a diagnosis, because without proper diagnosis, he can't give a treatment plan. So similarly, first, we want to have a look at what are the symptoms, or also known as the mistakes, in your LinkedIn marketing, because then we can determine the treatment plan. The plan to make your business super healthy and to grow sales. Now, as I don't know you yet, I don't really know much about your business yet, so I'm going to go over the 3 most common symptoms that you see. And those mistakes, if you take them and use them and transform them, you will see improvement, you will see results. I just saw several of the clients who immediately notice the difference when they start applying. Now, if you would like to get real answers, as I mentioned, I don't really know you yet, but if you want to get real answers for your company and a personalized treatment plan, also known as LinkedIn strategy, I suggest that you click the link in the chat so we can book time and I can actually look at your profile, your strategy, your company, so we can get your company in great shape and helping you make more money ethically. So that's the offer that I have, and I love working with fast action takers, which is why the first 7 qualified people, so people who actually book a call, they have a LinkedIn strategy session with me, will receive this special gift. You need to have an existing business, or if you don't, at least be in a position to invest in the LinkedIn strategy. Otherwise, you're not really qualified. So that we can together look at, okay, where's the gold in your LinkedIn network? If you do that, you'll receive my LinkedIn profile assessment. It's a really unique course that shows okay, what's good, what's not good. And often by looking at others, you find more value for free, value of $197. Okay, good. Time to dive in. The 3 biggest LinkedIn symptoms that your business may be seriously ill and eventually could die, because without leads, you won't have any sales meetings. Without any sales meetings, no sales. Without sales, no income. There's not a business that can survive without income. So now let's have a look on LinkedIn. Symptom number 1, your LinkedIn profile is about you. Now, I know this is kind of a trap because you have this section in your LinkedIn profile that says about, and everybody, no, most people, not everybody, most people have a whole story about them. Many people have their resume there, but it doesn't really communicate for the purpose of generating lead. Now, why is this a problem? Your profile is the first step in crafting a LinkedIn marketing campaign that brings actual results. Your profile is the core of everything in the whole strategy and the whole system that I'll go over here today. So if this is what your profile looks like, it's one of your marketing campaigns. It shows that you're really missing some vital marketing knowledge for your company to survive, to expand, and to prosper. Now, this is an example, and I'm sure you've seen these examples like this. You see Janelle, she's the owner of United Country Real Estate, prestigeauction.com, a better way to buy and sell real estate. Now, if you look at this, it looks like she's a realtor, right? That's what it is, but you can see it's just about her. Now, number 1, she doesn't sell real estate. She's not like a traditional real estate broker or agent. What she actually does is she helps realtors increase their revenue and market share with auction marketing. So her targets are realtors. It's not people who want to buy or sell their house. What she does is generate more revenue for realtors. So you can see that by changing the focus and explaining how she can bring value, it already changes everything. What you want to do is make your LinkedIn profile like a salesperson, 24/7, promoting you. The cool part is with that virtual salesperson is he won't take vacations, and it's just always there. So that's the first step. Because how many of you have a really good product or service? I just want to see. Maybe you can just mention in the chat, what is your product or service? What is it that you sell? And then you know that, this is really good. You're actually helping people. If only you would get in front of more people, you would have more clients and they would get amazing results. What kind of companies do we have? Recruitment, IT, consulting. Wow, 48 years. Rob, that is amazing. You must deliver amazing value. CRM software and HRM also. Great. Uniforms for multiple sectors, industrial lubricants. Wow, really great variety. People grow their IT infra. So I would say that most of you would agree that if you would have more people would understand how you could help, you would have more business. Recruiting and consulting. Now, here is another example, and how we then tied her profile, which really is the core, in with organizing the LinkedIn event. Because the LinkedIn event is what you want to set up that brings value or that addresses a pain point. Usually it's a pain point because people that then sign up for your event, they're basically raising their hand and saying, hey, I have that problem, I'm looking for a solution. Marketing research services, great value. So here is where you see how it all has to come together. So you have a strong presence on LinkedIn, starting with your LinkedIn profile. I mean, how many of you have seen a profile like this? I don't hope it's yours. But here you can see Adrian, which is what a lot of people have. I mean, he has a photo. He actually has done pretty well, 3,000 followers, business technology advisor, but it doesn't really communicate what he is and how he can help. So when he redesigned it, you can see what he offers. He's protecting law firms, keeping your law firm and clients safe from data breaches, hackers, and viruses. So it's much more clear how he's helping. And then with that, you create your event around that in what's the problem? In this case, cybersecurity, how you can shield your company against cyber threats in 2024. So come up with a title for your LinkedIn event that has a keyword, in this case, it's cybersecurity, that integrates and communicates consistently with your LinkedIn profile, and that people see that you can actually help and that you can bring value. That really is key. As you mentioned, remember the companies we want to follow, we want them to fall in love with us. Now, if you have been to one of Adrian's events, the content is incredible, and he showed me really areas in my business that are at risk because I just didn't know what I didn't know. So already, I mean, I love it. I love the service that he provides. Here is another example, again, a very plain. He's the CEO of Navi Studios. What's Navi Studios? Photography, what it is. In this case, it takes your software products to the next level. And what is very valuable, and that's I can go more into it, like when you book a personal session, I can show you like the tools we have, because you want to know how is it actually working. You can see that when we changed Ivan's LinkedIn profile, his acceptance rate was 53%, which is incredibly high. Usually it's about 15, 20% you're doing well. His acceptance rate was 53% because the targeting was good and people understood why they should connect with him. What are you doing? Now, again, we started the campaigns. Total after connecting was 50% people responding. Now, if you're like most people, if you just send a few messages and like, hey, nobody's answering me, it's really the quantity of the messages that we did here, because you can also see that the people connected and responded to a connection message was only 2.7%. But if you do the follow-up messages, you can see that it was 47.3%. And this again highlights the importance of the follow-up, to stay in touch with people and not by sending them a message saying, hey, I'm following up, like duh, as if they didn't figure that out themselves. Give them something, a nugget, give them something that is happened in your industry, give them a tip that they can actually use, or just send them some, wish them a great weekend, something that adds something to their lives. And again, this is very important because having a complete LinkedIn profile could increase your chance of meeting or exceeding your sales target. This was a research that was done that 79% of buyers are more likely to consider a brand if their salesperson has an informative LinkedIn profile. So make that your priority. It's really, really important in order to generate leads with LinkedIn. Now, how can you make your profile and intent attract your buyer persona with ChatGPT? Now, if you didn't do that yet, you want to download the ChatGPT worksheet. If you can put it in the chat, Kara. Excuse me. Yeah, here, download the ChatGPT worksheet. Now, for those of you that are fairly new with ChatGPT, you have the prompts, which is basically a question or a command or something you give. And using ChatGPT, we're going to define your buyer persona. Not just for defining your buyer persona, even though that could be helpful, but really to give ChatGPT the input it needs to give you the best, most specific and accurate output. But your prompts need to be specific and accurate in order to get the best responses. So if you can let me know by show of hands or in the chat that you had a chance to click the link here and download the worksheet, that will be good. And then I can show you done. Amazing, thank you, Rob. The only way to get the worksheet is if you go to the link and then it will be redirected. It's all set up that way. So we cannot attach it here. That's not done. Thank you very much. Good. And now I'll show you how we're going to use, I will just do a quick demo to write your profile for the buyer persona, including, yes, and how you do that is in the prompt, you want to include the role, the context, the writing style, the brand tone, and voice to get a better response. And in this case, you want to start with the buyer persona. Now, what do I mean with the role? It's good if it's a copywriter or a researcher or a professor, because each one of them has a different viewpoint on the answers. In this case, it would be good to say, okay, we're a copywriter. And what kind of brand tone or writing style is important for you, for your buyer persona. If you work with like highly educated people, the writing style usually in corporate also is very different than if you're talking to teenagers. I'm not there on LinkedIn, but for example. Okay, so let me show you. Let's see if I can move this screen. Just to give you a quick demo, and you can play with it a little more. Can you see my worksheet? Just had to move it to another screen. Can you see my worksheet, Cara? Okay, great. So what you would do is if you go to the worksheet to define your buyer persona, this is the buyer persona prompt. So you need to first make a copy, sorry. So you go to file and you make a copy, because obviously you can't copy the original. Then once you have your own copy, you edit the blue section. And again, the more details you can give, in this case, it's not just a business coach. It's a business coach who helps entrepreneurs create more freedom, time, and income by setting up systems, building a team, and specializing in creating a better life-work balance. So the more details you give on like who you are, what you do, again, the better your answer will be. Now, once you've done that, you take this whole section. From here, you are a marketing researcher, up until just a little bit above this one, sorry. Please, above and here, above the challenges, and you put all of it in ChatGPT. Now, once you use that, if all the other prompts you use in that section and refer to the buyer persona, you'll notice that the responses you get will be much better. You see, in this case, it's an established entrepreneur, the age, income, like interest. It will give you some really valuable information, because the more you understand your buyer persona, the more you can relate, the more you speak to their pain, speak to their dreams, the more they will connect with you, the more they feel like understood, and the more understood they feel, the more they're likely to want to do business with you. Here is the second prompt here, pain, challenges, and dreams. Usually we use it also just to get a feel and an idea about what are they struggling with and which angle we could take to host a LinkedIn event on as the topic. So for example, here you can see main challenges. Primary challenge include delegating. So if I'd be a business coach, I could say, you know, my LinkedIn event is about delegating effectively to create more time. Or you could say, okay, my event is on scaling the business sustainably. It's another hurdle. So it depends on the value you want to bring and what kind of clients you want to attract, what you would use from these different topics. And if you go back to the prompt, I won't go in it too much, but you can see here the LinkedIn profile prompt. It refers back to the buyer persona. So if you use that, you get much more specific answers than if you would just put in the prompt without adding the buyer persona first. So the prompt, Marissa, is just the instruction that you give ChatGPT what you would like to have. In this case, I'm telling ChatGPT, you see in the LinkedIn profile prompt, you are a professional copywriter. So that gives a different angle to how he writes. Write a compelling headline for my LinkedIn profile of no more than 220 characters to appeal to my buyer persona. Give me 10 variations. So this would be a prompt. That's the instruction that you give it in what you would like to achieve. Does that make sense? You could also ask, give me a list of 10 fruits, or 10 fruits that are, could make you sick, or 10 fruits that are high in vitamin C. That's the prompt that you put in ChatGPT. If you have the paid version of ChatGPT, it's kind of cool because then you can save it, you can add it to the memory. So it builds more and more who you are, what your company is, your voice, your brand tone, and you won't have to type it in all the time because it can understand it. Add your buyer persona in. So what you do is you go into this section on the top, here in the blue section, you would say what it is you do. So you describe the business. And if you describe the business, so you edit the blue section, once it's edited, then you just copy this whole section into ChatGPT. And then ChatGPT will give you the buyer persona. So you don't add it, ChatGPT will provide it here, as you can see here. It gives me all the details, like he's 35 to 50, mid-career business owner seeking more freedom, balance, and profitability. So it gives you all those points. Characteristics, like where would you be, who other people like Michael Hyatt, Amy Porterfield, other people that they're following. Okay, any other questions on this? Okay, yes. Yes, no worries. We can definitely go into it a little bit more, but this is the strategy and how you get the best results. And as I said, there's more prompts you can use for LinkedIn specifically to get the answers you're looking for more specifically. Now, here is another example of an about section. Again, you can see this about section is just about him. Now, I know it says about, so that's what most people do. So it talks about he's a managing partner. Here he takes pride in helping both employers. It can all be, but people are not really interested about all of this background until they know how you can help them. What's the value you can bring, and how can you actually make a difference from them? How can you, help them solve a problem or bring pleasure? Now we rewrote it, as you can see, where before it was just a managing partner, also a lot of text to make it much easier to read. Are you struggling to find the right person who has a specialized skill set combined with industry expertise? Well, if you are somebody that's looking for the right person, you can say yes, like, oh, you're interested. It kind of catches your attention. Is the long recruitment cycle slowing down your business and costing you money? Does the scarcity of candidates frustrate you and hinder your business growth? If you have any of these problems, obviously you're going to continue reading. Then, when we have established the pain that he can help you with, he says, I specialize in bridging the gap between your business needs and the right talent from sales professionals, engineers, scientists, executives to other industry experts. My targeted approach goes beyond traditional message, making the recruitment process fast and efficient. And then he goes a little bit more about his background, his experience, and he has a call to action, ready to overcome your recruitment challenges. Let's connect. So if you have an about section, there's different formats you can do. This is one option where you start with questions to find out if there's somebody that could be a potential client for you. There's also the one where you use story, which is also an amazing format because you really draw people in using your story. Okay. Saad says, wait, I cannot read that. G will not affect it, right? I don't understand the question. Saad saying, I thought headlines and about section help to rank profiles, so GPT content will not affect it. I don't really know what you mean, because if that's what you do, it would be still in there. Okay, cool. Mistake number one, or as we mentioned before, the symptom. The symptom was the quality of your post and messages. So now let's find out what is more important, the quality or the quantity of your LinkedIn posts and your messages? So let's take a quick poll. I'd love to see your answers. If you can just open up in the screen. Quality, quantity, okay. Quality is winning with 92% so far. That's interesting. I would love each one of you, just one press on the button. If you are here, if you're alive, just let us know that you are still here. 41 people. How many people do we have? We have 81. Okay, more people coming. Thank you very much. Both, well, you can, only one thing can be most important, right? It cannot both be most important. Quantity, quality, quality by far, okay. Engagement is poor, I understand. Yes, a dog, you're sitting on a gold mine. Over 13,000 followers, you're sitting on a gold mine. You're just missing some key things, and I'll go into it a little bit more, but you and I, we should talk. Let's meet, and I would love to show you some strategies that could be very valuable for you. Okay, guys, 50 people of the 83. Anybody else? We'd love to see more input. 52, thank you very much. Quality, by far, people say quality. 92% versus 8% says quantity. Well, I'm sorry to tell you and to burst your bubble, but that is the mistake most people make. It's the quantity of your promotion, not the quality, that determines your income. Now, specifically on LinkedIn. So now let me explain. If you send 10 connection requests, like perfect connection requests, like really great quality, nicely written, like you really crafted them, you spent an hour on each one, and let's make it 15. On average, the acceptance rate is 15%. So let's say you do 10, 15, you basically have 1 to 2 people that accepted your connection request. Now, those 2 people you can message. As you saw, when you do really well, you have 50% response rate. Usually it's also between 15 and 20. So now the 2 people that you connected with, if you do very well, 1 will respond. That's 1 potential prospect. Now, if you would send with the system, usually with LinkedIn, you have about 100 connection requests a week. With the tool we use, you can send 200 in a way that LinkedIn won't know that it's not really a real person because it mimics human behavior. 200 connection requests. If you have a 20% acceptance rate, 200 times 20 is like, how much is it? 40 people. Of the 40, if you have then a 50% acceptance rate, it's 10 new potential leads, and that every week. The other thing is, the question is, when you talk about posts, what actually is a good quality post? What is a good message? Like, who determines quality? It's very objective, because you think it's a great quality post, and I think, nah, it's okay. You know, it's content that makes leads engage with you, not something that looks beautiful from your viewpoint. That is a good quality post if it brings results. Now, how do you know which posts bring results? If you put a lot of them out. Now, get me right, I'm not saying you should spam people or you should post junk. Obviously, it needs to be good content. But the quantity is much more important, because that will give you the data to determine what is a good message. If you send 3 messages a week, you won't know if it's a good message or not. If you send, you have about 80 a day. If you send 80 a day times 7, there's 500 messages, over 500 messages a week. You'll be able to track and see which message gets the best result. What is a good quality message? A good quality message is the message that gets engagement. If not, it looks pretty, but it's not the purpose. Unless you're an artist, but even then, even as an artist, you know, you want to get this engagement. Does that make sense? Just love to check in the chat. I know it's a new viewpoint, it's different, but it's very, especially on LinkedIn, it's very important to understand that most of you, if you just increase the quantity, if you would post every day for a year, not the best post, not the most exciting post, but you would post every day, you would get way, way better results than posting once a month, but the perfect post. Yes, Aisling, that's what I said. I do agree. It has to be good. You don't want it to harm your business. You don't want to put on junk. I mean, it has to be good. You don't want to put on something that's really bad. And here again, remember what we talked about in the beginning, you want your customers, you want people to fall in love with you. The more they see you, the more they engage with you, the more the relationship starts to grow. I'm sorry, is the daily post too much for LinkedIn? No, daily post is fine, it's good, but there's some key things that you want to do to make sure you get that engagement. So here are some examples of posts. Personally, I don't post a whole lot just because I have so many leads. I really didn't get to it, but I did want to start with some of it. And you can see like this post had 18,000 impressions, 13,000 members reached, 10,000 video views, reactions 87, 17 comments, and 7 reposts. So that's pretty good. So you want to see then which are the best performing ones. This one performed even better. This totally knocked it out of the park. 275,000 impressions, 196,889 members reached, 142,000 video views, reactions 1,608. So if you do this consistently, you can see which one of the posts are working very well and which are not so working. Some only had like 5,000 or 6,000 impressions, which is still very good. But this theme, the content, you can see then also from the comments, like what do people want to know? What do they engage with? What do you mean that increasing the engagement, not to be over the quality? Taifer, can you rephrase your question? I'm not sure if I understand. Yeah, so it doesn't mean, basically what I'm saying is that the quality of this post was not necessarily better. It might have been the content or the topic or how it was written. It doesn't mean that it was a better quality, because what's quality? Quality is what gets the results. It depends. If your result is to grow your business and engage and generate leads, then the best quality is the one that gets the job done. And obviously, the more people engage with you, the better. Now, you need to learn the behind-the-scenes formula and break the code of LinkedIn's algorithm to get these kind of results. As you see, most posts, when I just started, I mean, I got 5 or 10, and mostly it was people that already knew me, so it didn't really work. Once you know how to do it, it changes everything. And the key is quantity. It's more important than quality. Now, the other thing is too, when you do content, it's best combined with an outreach strategy where you actually land in the inbox. So you send messages to people. The post is very good, but not everybody is on LinkedIn all the time. And especially as you're working B2B, chances are people are not like just scrolling on LinkedIn looking for your post. So when you end up in their inbox, it's usually forwarded to their email inbox, like from LinkedIn, or they'll check their LinkedIn inbox so they can actually see you. And when they do comment on your post or like, you want to find out who is just browsing, just engaging, just because they have nothing better to do, and who's looking for your solution. And this is where LinkedIn events are very powerful to generate these quality leads. It really is the most effective tool to turn your LinkedIn connections into sales conversations and generate sales. And as I said, I recommend using a system because it's to get the quality that actually brings the result. It's quite time consuming and intense to do that yourself. With this tool, we can actually target people that commented or liked on my post and then start a conversation and see who's responding and find out like, hey, would you like to generate more leads? Have you thought about hosting LinkedIn events? Yeah, so that's what LinkedIn events are, a proven system to generate leads and grow sales. And so just an example of what's possible, I want to introduce you to Matthew. Thanks to the LinkedIn event strategy, he had 100 people from his LinkedIn event raise their hand, basically, that they were interested in what he had to offer. And one of them was ready to buy. The other 99 leads, he could still close later. So let's have a look at what he said.
I sent out, I think, 1,000 connections. We had about 100 actually register, and we got one sale out of it. Since I'm selling a very high ticket, 5-figure B2B system, it's between $10,000 and $12,000. Just getting that one client from the process was really like a big win. And I also have about 99 other people to follow up with that now know about the product.
So how many of you would say that if you would have an additional, like say they said $10,000, $20,000, $12,000, if you would have another $10,000, $12,000 in initial sales, how many would you say like, yeah, that definitely would make a difference in my life and for my business? Anybody? Robert? Okay, great to see you. Anybody else? No? Chris? Doug, how about you? 100%, Rabia says. Yeah. John, yes. And again, as he mentioned, there's still 99 leads. It doesn't mean he can't sell to other people, because he knows that they want what he had to offer. That's why they signed up for the place. Okay. My slides here are a bit messed up. Okay, mistake number 3, it's a roller coaster. You are active in LinkedIn, but then you get busy, you're not doing anything for a while, then you come back to it, and you go again, and then eventually you start to think like, okay, maybe LinkedIn isn't for me. But what's the real problem? Is that you lack a marketing system. You don't have it organized in a way where it's just running, and that you have, consistent messages going out, that you have events where people can register, so the leads are coming in. People are indicating like, hey, I have this problem, I want your solution. This is a great quote from Edward Deming. 94% of failure is the result of the system, not the people. Edward Deming was instrumental. He's an economist. He helped rebuild the economy in Japan after the Second World War by teaching businesses to succeed by fixing their systems. And as we discussed before, the future of your company depends on leads, because without leads, you can't survive. You'll have no sales, no income. So if you want to generate more leads, close more sales, what system are you missing? Now, LinkedIn events could be a great system to help you grow your revenue. There's another lady I'd love to introduce you to, Angela Leon. She's the owner of Samarosa's virtual assistant, and another great example of what's possible.
We generally, from every LinkedIn event, will get about 4 to 5 leads, people who want to right on the spot say, I want to chat, or they call me right after and say, I'd like to speak. And we at least walk out with 2 or 3 clients.
Now, just to give you the background, she offers virtual assistant services, and her packages range between 2,500 and 11,000 per month. So, the value of a client is about 30,000 per year, because her retention is also very good because she offered such a great service. So 2 new clients, that's 60,000 in additional sales, just from the one LinkedIn event. Now, the sequence is a bit out here. My life can be divided in 2. So you have my life before the LinkedIn Leads Power System and my life after. And the reason why I'm telling you about my life before and after is because I want to describe how your life will improve when you have this system implemented in your company, and showing you what happened. So what happened was this one Saturday afternoon, I came home from the market, and you could see it was the big windows. You could see the beautiful green mountains of the Ecuadorian landscape. I'd moved there about 4 months prior to do missionary work, and I came back home from the market. I put my bags on the table, sit down, and the stomach ache was unbearable. During the night, the fever, the cramps, oh my gosh, I'd never been in so much pain. They got so bad, I was afraid I would die. And I wondered, like, if I die here tonight, how long will it take for my family to find my body? Because I was in this remote area in the mountains. Imagine being really sick in a strange country, all alone, lost, lonely, afraid. Fortunately, the next day, the lady that, my landlord, the lady went with me to the hospital, because I didn't speak Spanish yet when I just got there. And little did I know that an infection would cost me everything. Because in the month that followed, I was in a lot of pain. It took a long time to really recover. And I was too weak to run my business. I had spent up all my savings by then. I spent up all my savings by then. So when my fiance proposed, I really believed it was God's answer to my prayer. So I packed up my stuff and I flew to the US. Then when I was there, a few weeks later, we had lunch at a Mexican restaurant, his great Californian weather. And I was all excited about telling him about the wedding preparations, but I noticed something was off. He looked at me and he said, Shemaya, the wedding is off. I go, wait, what? What? No. 2 weeks before the wedding, Jonathan broke up with me. I had given up my life, my horses, my residency, and my dream to be with him in California. And he dumped me. Cold, cruel. Wait, sorry, this slide is double. It was awful. I was heartbroken and angry as well. I was devastated. I was broke and I was homeless. And that's when I met Mayor Ezra. Mayor Ezra is an exceptional businessman. He runs many different companies in different parts of the world, most of them making 6, 8, 7, 8 figures a year. He became my mentor and a very good friend. But at the time, I was at such a low point in my life. How could he even help me? I'd gone to so many seminars. I spent a small fortune on courses and coaches. He was so wealthy, very successful, and I was at the time living out of a suitcase. But you know what? I wasn't sure if it's gonna work. I didn't really have a choice though, so I gave it a shot anyway, because I knew he had results. He built a company like that he sold when he was only, I think, 31 or so, for $100 million, which like at today's value would almost be like $500 million. So I knew that I should at least try to learn and apply what he suggests. At the time, I wasn't really excited, but you know what? I had this little spark of hope left. Something could be done. Something could be changed. And what I discovered from Mayor, the business truths that he taught me, especially the marketing love languages, really formed the foundation of my LinkedIn Leads Power System. Now, I can't also go into the whole marketing love languages in this little time that we have left, but we could definitely go into that another time. We do have other webinars where we go more into that. That really teaches you how to get people, your customers, to fall in love with you, and then combining it with the system, applying it to LinkedIn, and combining it with the system that gets you in front of the people. Because remember, we talked about your LinkedIn profile, which is amazing, but if it's perfect, but you have nobody ever looking at it, it's like a billboard in the middle of the desert. It's not gonna make you a dime. So you need to really combine the different systems, like the profile, the messaging, the LinkedIn event, but make sure that you have creating a lot of traffic. You need to make sure people see it. It's not going to be useful. But then also you need to learn the marketing love languages to be able to communicate with them in a way that they can actually receive your communication, that they understand who you are, and really finding that way that actually engages with them. Now, what happened next will shock you, because what happened was that, this is just quite amazing. The LinkedIn Leads Power System I developed, it's such a huge success. We maxed out the registration page. So actually, I don't even know, like we created a new one fairly late, but some of you might have noticed. I had a few people messaging me saying, hey, I want to register, and I'm getting an error. Because we had so many people register that the LinkedIn event page could not handle anymore. So well done. It's amazing that you made it here today. And that definitely is not by mistake. I'm definitely certain there's value for you and for us connecting together. And there is definitely much more to learn. Excuse me. Now, I have so many leads that money is no longer a problem. And I have the most amazing clients. Is he still here? He's really also great to work with. Robert was here. Tanya was here. Really cool. Because I have so many leads, I can choose who I want to work with. And that's what happened to me. And that's what will happen to you once you fully implement the LinkedIn Leads Power System. So whether you want to get out of debt, you help more clients, travel to amazing companies, make more money, live the life you always knew you could create, you need the system and you need the knowledge. Those two are key. And I'll show you that with this illustration. 1 second. Yeah, thank you. Like there was a little village. It was a little village and they didn't have running water. The way that they would get water is, you've seen them, like they walk with a big buckets and they go to the lake or to a river. In this case, there was a lake not too far away. And people would go and get the water until one day the elders decided and said, you know what, they got together and they said, you know what, let's assign 2 people that will be responsible for the water supply. And then the people in the village, they can just exchange with them for the water. Now, 2 people were, they gathered together, 2 people were picked and were like super excited that they got the unique opportunity and the privilege to provide water for the village. Now, what happened was the one guy, he's like, wow, this is amazing. He went to the store, he got 2 big buckets and he started walking to the lake, walking back and start selling the water. Then in the holidays or after school, his kids would help. Now they had 2 and then had 4 buckets. Then he had another, his brother helped. Now there were 3 of them walking back and forth selling water. The other guy disappeared. Like for 6 months, he was gone. Nobody in the village knew where he went, what happened. And nobody understood because he had this amazing privilege to sell water. What happened is he went away, he found investors, he bought materials and found a way to develop this system where the pipelines would bring water from the lake to the village, which allowed him to sell water 24/7 for much less and without much effort, and with much less effort. Now, obviously, there was an investment required. It wasn't easy to do. And so just like you don't become a water system engineer overnight, it takes years of study. So even though it's easy to set up a LinkedIn event, I mean, it's very easy. You go and you create, but there's a lot to learn to build your LinkedIn leads power system. There's a lot of moving pieces, but you can imagine that once it's set up, you'll have a consistent flow of leads month after month. And then you close them into sales and you'll have a money machine. And that is what we do for our clients. Now, how does it work? It's over 12 months, over the next months together, we will design, build, and optimize the 3 key assets of your LinkedIn leads power system. That will allow you to generate 2 to 3 leads per day, let's say 40 to 100 a month, with LinkedIn events and ChatGPT, consistently filling your pipeline and your calendar so you can book more sales calls and add an extra 3,000 to 5,000 in revenue to your business just from the LinkedIn events. Now, I am aware it's not for everybody. It's only those who are ready and committed to scale. So I suggest let's meet and discover if we are a good fit to work together. If you would like that, here is the link. You can find a time. Sometimes with the time differences, I am in Cape Town, South Africa at the moment. It may not work. Then just email me your calendar or some other options, and then we can find a way around it. Not a problem. So let's go in, like, what are the key assets of your LinkedIn leads power system? So what are things that you could build yourself if you decide, like, no, I don't want to work, I'm just going to figure it out on my own? You can. The first thing is your profile branding. We talked about that in the first step. The first mistake people have is the LinkedIn profile is about them. The first step is to craft your LinkedIn profile and turn it into your virtual salesperson. Somebody willing to work 24/7 without taking any holidays. And you don't have to pay over hours either. So the second one is the LinkedIn event formula. LinkedIn is a great source of new clients, like the lake, like it's unlimited almost. But you need the best system to fill your pipeline with sales leads, those that are interested in your solution. That's the definition of a sales lead. And then you need the epic lead closer. As I said, you can do it manually, but what I do is we have several systems in place. Number 1 is to fill your event, and number 2 is also to create the touch points after they showed interest, to leverage your time and increase conversion. And it's really crucial that you take advantage of the right tools to help you close more leads and sales. I think that most people don't realize the estimation of effort it takes. Now, we all know if you're any done in sales, like the money is in the follow-up. But in reality, and I know I've also been guilty of it. We follow up 3-4 times, maybe 5. And that's after we've already been in conversation with the person. But if you have a cold lead, it was a very interesting study that I done. I just bumped into it when I was doing some research, that the touch point for somebody that actually shows interest or shines up, or it can take 30 to 50 touch points for somebody just to book a call. Now, while that's good information to know, you need to have something in place, a system in place that allows you those touch points without you having to go through all these people one by one. And then also, once you had to book a call, once they book the call, obviously you have to follow up to actually close the sale. But it definitely makes a difference. I really love systems. That's why, the analogy with the pipeline, I would just much rather build the pipeline, improve the pipeline, than having to run back and forth with buckets of water. It's just not so efficient in my universe. And that is the difference. I mean, speaking of efficient, you can, let's go to last. If you go from, let's say, from New York to Los Angeles, you can take a buggy. You will get there eventually. It's not the most comfortable. You might be a bit stinky when you arrive, but you can get there. Or you can take a private jet. It's much faster, much more convenient, much more comfortable, and much more fun. So anybody would like to come in my jet with me, who wants to join in my jet? Because that really is the benefit. If we would decide to work together, I already mapped out the whole system. I figured out what's working, what's not working. So you don't have to go through all the hobbles and bubbles, like all the bumps in the road when you're taking the carriage. Anybody would like to come? No, nobody. Simone, thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Maria, the investment is for the program in defense. We have different levels depending on your level of support. So it varies from like on the lower end, $3,000 for the full program up to $10,000, $15,000 if you want more services done for you. So it ranges from there. I like jet rides. Dog sounds fun. Now you are wondering, I think Maria, you read my next slide, how much does it cost? It costs as much as a small car. But if you cannot afford it, you better join because it means that you really need it. And if you've been working 5, 10, 20 years or more and you don't have a few $1,000s to invest in yourself and expansion of your company, you better do something different and actually start investing in yourself right now. Because it could cost, and not only could cost, usually it costs more not to join because you are missing revenue. How much are you missing in revenue? Because you're not closing the people. How much money is sitting in your LinkedIn box? Doug, 12,000 followers, I think you had, or 13,000 followers. Like, so much money is sitting there, and you're just sitting on a gold mine, and you don't take the gold to the bank. Thanks for joining, Lou. Great to see you. So do you agree that without the system, you could be throwing a lot of money out of the window, like this little guy? Now, as I mentioned before, I love working with fast action takers. So the first qualified people, 7 qualified people who book a call and have a LinkedIn strategy session with me will receive this special gift to really find the gold in your network, to receive my LinkedIn profile assessment for free, which is a value of $197. It's a program that shows you, okay, how do you assess your profile? What's working, what's not working? And often when you look at somebody else, it's very obvious that you can see, yeah, no, this photo doesn't really work. But then if you look at your own, you may not notice it as much. So it's very great to do this review of profiles to see, okay, this is what a good profile looks like and is not. My 0 risk guarantee, if you are accepted into a program and you apply, and you apply what you learned correctly by executing all the action steps on time, you will have quality sales leads. When you and your sales team then turn those leads into new clients, you make more sales than you've invested with us, guaranteed. And the question you have to ask yourself, if not this, then what? If not me, then who? And if not now, then when? Because if you don't do anything, the new year is already coming up. Like, what are you going to do to grow the sales? Here again, the slide, if you want to book a call, the link is in the chat. And thank you very much for joining us today. Okay, good. So anybody that's ready to find the gold in your network, I'd be happy to connect with you. As I mentioned, you do need to have an existing business. So you have a proven model, like, of what you're selling. You need to have some, something already going in order to scale. Wait 1 second. Or if you're starting a business and you're in a position to invest, then you can use LinkedIn also to research, to discover what do people want, how we can survey. Then we can use the messages for that purpose. So that could also work. So if you have either of these 2 categories, that would be fine.